Okay, my name's Tom Paylor. I'm a commodity trader slash meteorologist at RenRe Energy Advisors. Our group's based in Houston, just outside Houston in the Woodlands, and I live in Raleigh right now, but I'll be relocating down to Houston at the end of the school year. My typical day, I come in around 8 a.m. The first thing I do is look at all the overnight model runs and see how things might have changed since the prior day. I'll look at different private weather forecast vendors because those vendors are important for understanding where the weather market is going to be trading on a given day. One of the things our group's very active in is in the weather derivative marketplace. So we're basically betting on hot weather or cold weather in different parts of the world. So it's important to know what's going on in the U.S. It's important to know what's going on in Europe. We also have deals in Australia. So the first thing I do when I come in is kind of assimilate everything. Sometimes you'll read National Weather Service discussions. We have our own model output that we look at here. We have our own forecast process called the Super Ensemble that we run. That forecast is included into our decision making every day. So I'll need to know where our internal model runs are in relation to all the other model runs. And as I mentioned, the private weather vendors also play a big part in that. So that's the first thing I do. That usually takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to kind of get up to speed on everything. The weather market opens at 9:30 Eastern time. So a lot of trades will occur up until the time of the 12Z GFS run, which comes out. It starts coming out around 10:45 in the morning when we're on standard time. It continues until about 11:45, and then you have the ensembles come out after that. So you're monitoring that for any changes in the forecast, because obviously our positions, our risk positions, are going to change based on new model information coming in. So a warmer or cooler GFS run can make a big difference in things. Market will start trading again after the GFS run. Then you'll wait on the European run, and then the market usually kind of limps out by around 3:30 or 4. I'm also having to manage electricity and natural gas positions based on any deals that our company may have on in the books that I may be responsible for. I'm communicating with the people in Houston. We have a group of traders down there as well, so they have positions on themselves. Have somebody that focuses on physical natural gas. We have some people that focus on heating oil. So we have a lot of deals that we have to look at during the day. The part about the job is that it kind of marries my interest in the weather with the financial markets. I was always kind of a stock trading nut, partly because my dad was. I used to watch him. He was always interested in the investment markets when I was in high school and things. So I like the fact that you're kind of gambling on the weather, because I really like that aspect of meteorology was what I always wanted to do, but then I kind of found this niche with the financial markets, and it's really been a good thing for me. Well, I think the stress is on seeing real large swings from it can get real good and you think everything's great, and then the maps will flip all of a sudden, and then things are kind of bad again. So you have a lot of highs and lows, and you're always kind of worried about your position. I mean, you're looking at the models over the weekend. There's really no time off. There's time off in the sense that you could just say, I'm not going to look at it anymore this weekend, but you always want to know, did the GFS switch a lot warmer or a lot cooler? So you're always, what your position is, and you know whether the maps are against you or kind of with you in a given instance. So I have my wife kind of yelling at me a lot of times on the weekend saying, you can't do anything about it anyway, so quit looking at it. But that's just kind of what you have to deal with. Well, I think there's always going to be a place for weather in the energy markets. I mean, that's kind of how I got into the trading side of it. I was, on a trading floor making forecasts for traders, and then I kind of moved over to the trading side. So I think that piece is always going to be there. I think one of the big risks is that the actual traded weather market goes away. I mean, there's a handful of actual traders in the weather space, maybe a dozen that are in there consistently, and maybe 20 or 25 total that are in there, either consistently or on an irregular basis. So it's not like it's a big liquid market like stocks or something. So I think if somebody would have said, I wanted to be a weather derivative, meteorologist, I think you got to realize that there is some risk that the weather market would go away. We don't really see that right now, but that's what a risk is. But if you looked at it from kind of the trading side, you wanted to trade natural gas or power, then I think you can get into it on the meteorology side and then kind of evolve into that, because those traded markets are always going to be there. Well, I mean, obviously you need to get your meteorology degree, but I think in terms of any electives you can take is take as many finance classes as you can. One good thing about meteorology is you have the math background, so finance, compared to dynamics or something, isn't necessarily that challenging. So I think you just have to be kind of smart in what electives that you're taking and make sure it's kind of financially oriented, because that'll come in handy down the line. There's different avenues to come to a point that I did. I mean, I worked at a TV station doing the weather, making $8 an hour in Albany, Georgia, when I was in grad school, and then I worked for the Weather Service for 7 years. And I left the government to get into the private sector, and I think there's a lot of different ways to get to where I've gotten. And you don't necessarily have to start out saying that I'm going to be a energy trading floor meteorologist. You have to say I'm going to get my background in forecasting and kind of learn the ropes there before you move into something like this. So any kind of entry-level job, with the Weather Service or anything like that, can certainly pay dividends, even if you know that you want to get into the financial space eventually.